Okay, so let's do a quick demo of some of the programs that we looked in the previous video, and what those were basically nesting of statements inside other statements. In this case, we're nesting if-else statements inside the body of a while statement. We could have very well nested a while statement inside an if-else statement. It just depends on what we want to do. So you can, nest as many of these statements inside each other as you want. So what does this program do? Well, it counts how many students have passed and how many have failed. So let's quickly run this and see what it does, whether it works properly. So it asks me to enter results. So 1 for pass, 2 for fail. Keep going, and you see that we had 2 students fail, and then the remaining 8 are passes. So we get this. So it counts and says 8 passes and 2 failures. Another thing is that we have put an if statement at the end. Now this is not nested inside the body of the while statement, so this is outside, and this will be executed if more than 8 students pass. So let's give that a try. So let's say all 10 of our students pass, and so it says yes, 10 passes, failures is 0, and then it also prints out bonus to instructor, which makes sense. So yeah, a simple program. You could also maybe go here, maybe put like a breakpoint, and you can step through this to see how it actually works. So let's go through it step by step. So enter result. Let's say you say pass. Let's go back to the program. Now it goes inside the first statement because the result was 1. So it increments passes, then the else is obviously false, comes down, increases the number of students by 1, and then goes back up, and then it repeats in a similar fashion. So let me just remove this breakpoint, and then okay. Now the next thing that we want to do is maybe a quick demo of the increment and decrement operators. So let me just copy paste that to save time, because I want to give you 2 demos. Right, so we have our variable c. We initialize its value to 5, then we print its value, and in this statement, the second statement, we post increment the value of c and print it. So what that will mean is this statement will execute, so the print statement will execute, and then the value of c will be incremented or increased by 1, and then in the next line we're just printing it. So what we should see here is the first line should show 5, the second line should also show 5, and then in the third line we should actually see 6. Similarly for the second one, now before we go down here, we actually reset the value of c to 5. So first we should see 5, then we have a pre-increment, so it first increases the value of c by 1, and then it prints it. So here the value that you should see is 6, and then finally we're just printing the value of C, and that should be 6. So let's run this, and you actually see that you get the values that you were expecting, 556 in the first one, and then 566 in the second one. You can do the same for the decrement, so let's just decrease this by 1. Now with the post decrement, it should show you 5 in the second line, and then it should show you 4 in the second line, in the third line. Similarly over here in this statement, it should first decrement because this is pre-decrement and then print it. And so let's see if this works, and it does. 554, just like we were expecting, and then 544 is also what we were expecting. Right, one more example. It's a very simple example that I want to give, is this one. And in this example, what we're doing is we have 4 variables, A, B, C and D, and we have initialized the value of B to 2 and C to 1, and then what we do is we multiply B and C, but in this case we're doing what is called the post increment of C. So what that means is this line will multiply B with C, compute A, and then increment the value of C. So what we should expect to be the output available in A at the output of at the end of this statement, once it executes, should be B is 2 times 1, which is, sorry, A is 2 times 1, which should be 2. And then after that C should be incremented. So once we come down here in this line, C should be 2, so we should see 2 times 2, so D should be 4. So let's quickly run this, and so we see 2, so A is 2 and D is 4, and this happens because of the post incrementing. Now we can go in and change this and make it pre-increment, and so what that will do is it will first increment the value of C and then compute the rest of the expression. So we should see a 4 here, and then over here we should also see a 4 for D. So let's run this, and yes, that is indeed the case. So yeah, and you can try something similar for the decrement as well, and it will show you similar behavior.